everybody. Today we're going to be doing kites. Um, we're going to be doing very small kites. Let me switch it over here. We're making very small kites. These kites are very small, but I think that they would fly out there if I took it out. What you need for it is some wire. You might not have everything to do with it right this minute, but you can pull it all together and come back to this course and put it all down. You'll need a piece of printing paper, the paper that you print things on your computer. You're going to need some wire. You're going to need some 24 gauge wire, and I used then a 20 gauge wire for the wire in the front. Now, then I used string, and I used some strips of cloth and braided them and tied them into a knot at the bottom. So the first thing we're going to do is take our paper and find our center at the top and at the bottom. You see where the center is. Now we're going to take the top and bring it down along that line and press. Then we're going to take the other side bring it down to the same spot and press it. Then we're going to do the same to the bottom, only you're going to press it from here down to there. And you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Make sure that you go all the way and press it from both sides. So that it looks like this. Now we're going to cut along the side here. We're not going to go all the way to the side. We're going to cut about 1/4 of an inch from the side. See, so there's a flap here. And we're going to do it on all 4 sides. You probably won't get this done in one day. It probably will take you a couple of times to do it. We have to do some gluing, which will take a while to set. Now there's many ways that we can do this. I've done it in several different ways. But today we're going to use um, our wire because that's what I have. And I'm not going to go to the store and get any more. You've got to measure so that you have enough wire to come from down here up over, down over here and here. So you have two pieces of wire sticking out here. And for me, I have a small wire cutter that I use to do this cutting. And I'm just measuring to make sure I have enough. And cutting the wire. More is better than not enough, so make sure that you have plenty there. And I put the two wires together. Bring it up. And sort of press it together. This is the 22 gauge wire, which is thinner. The higher the gauge, the thinner the wire. So this is usually found in craft areas where you do beading. Now, we are going to be taking this wire and gluing it inside of that flap all the way around here. So let me get the kite here so that I can show you. I have glued it and pressed down the flap all the way around with that wire in there, and then you leave it set. You might want to get some wax paper out, and so that you can lay it, after you've done that, you can lay it flat while it dries, and you can do your design on the other side. Now what I do is I have a, where is it? I have a small bottle that leaves a small bead in there. So I'm taking a small bottle and putting a bead of glue all the way around. And it's okay if it gets a little gooey. Just have some paper that you can wipe your hands on. Then I start where I press them together, and put them right in that crease. Probably have to mess around a little bit to get it up in that crease. And when you come to that corner, you make a little hoop and bring it down. Now this isn't easy, and it takes a little bit of patience and practice to do this. And coming back up here, that didn't get under there, so we're just going to stick it under there again. Then we're going to come back to the other side. Make sure you still have your hoops at the corners. There's a reason for it. We need it for doing the cross beam in the front. There we go. Now that's pretty much done. And if you've got your wax paper, you can turn it over so that you can start doing your design on the other side. I'm going to put mine to the side here. And I'm going to show you what I have done to the other side. Realize that this is the side that you put your cross beam on. So I've decided to do some words on mine. Mine says, hope, we hope, peace, care, and love. So you can figure out what kind of design you want on yours. And I'm going to show you the other side of this. It's all dry. That's going to take a while for that to dry. So don't be impatient. Now the cross beam I've done here, you can do it if you have Chinese chopsticks, the size that you can use on the front, you can use those. Mine were not long enough to do this, so I'm not going to be able to use them. But the bamboo is what they used to do all the parts of the kites that needed framework on them. Kites were used 5,000 or 3,000 years ago. Kites were invented, and they were invented to help them measure things. They tested the wind to see which way the wind was coming from. They used it for military operations, and yes, they had big enough kites that they had people flying in the kites. So that was quite interesting to hear about. Kites back then were made with silk, and they used the silk also to make the string to fly the kites. It was very strong so that their kites would not get away from them. Had a lot of strength. And the silk was also what they used to make sails for boats Uh, Back then, 3,000 years ago, there was nothing except row paddles to row and the sails to catch the wind so that the boat will go someplace. Bamboo definitely was what they used. Mine is not going to be bamboo. So now it's starting to get dry. It's not going to be too dry, uh, too wet. Now, what I did is the hoops at the top, the bottom, and the sides. Is I took the 20 gauge wire and cut it so it could go through those little hoops that I had you leave on the sides. And then I twisted the wire around so it wouldn't go anywhere and trimmed it off. They still could be trimmed off a bit because you don't need to have that wire that long. And I did it from the top to the bottom and also to the sides. And then I had the extra wire that I kept down here. As you see over here, I'm leaving extra wire too. It's probably a little more than what I need, but it's better than not enough. Then I took a strip. I took some material and I cut strips. What do I do with my scissors? I didn't cut them very fat. You don't want them too fat if you're going to braid them. What the tail does is it helps the kite to fly straight. Otherwise, it would flip around all the time. And you can find any kind of material you want to do this. If you have little, um, this string is a little too thin to do it, but you could use some fatter string to make your tail. Uh, as long as it adds some ballast to the kite. I used to play with kites and make kites all the time. Now I've made kites out of tissue paper, and it worked quite well. They were bigger than these, um, not a whole bunch bigger, but they were bigger. And I taught some people how to do that. If you get the main things that you have to do to create something, you can always use something else besides what they say to use to make it. I don't have any silky material right now, or I would have tried that so I could show you how to do it. And it's typically the same way. Now I don't know what they use to go around the edge to make it stronger. Um, I'm not sure. I don't think it was wire. I do know that the framework was done with bamboo, so that might have been really thin bamboo that they used around the edges. Now we're going to braid this so that it aims the kite in the proper way. If you don't know how to braid, you might look it up on YouTube. I'm sure there is a YouTube source for how to braid. They have everything else. Don't ever say that you can't do something, because there's always a way to learn how to do it. And if it takes a while to learn, that's fine. I never learned anything real fast either. Just don't say you can't, because that is not true. This has not been a very sunny day. In fact, I have not seen one speck of sun all day. At least it's not raining. Now we're having this, we're bringing it all down, and we're almost here. And I think I'm going to take it and tie it off right here. So we have stragglies at the bottom. And as you can see, I cut those stragglies a little bit. I do need to cut them a little bit more down there. Now it's almost dry down here, but it's not all the way. I took um, I'm taking the wire and attaching it so the ballast stays there. And trimming it off. Now this is the front. This is where you can do your design if you want to put something up there. I'm just going to put a person with one curl in their hair right now. Now I'm using the 20 gauge wire for the cross beams. As you can see, the cross beams go from where this hoop is over here to where this hoop is there. Then another one we cut and do the same from the top to bottom. And I usually get more than what I need, because if I don't, then sometimes I have cut it too short, and that's not good. I think I should not have put my tail on before I put these wires on. But that's okay, we're doing it. And you see this little wire up here where it's hooped? I don't know if you can see that. We're going to go right through that hoop. And we're making it as straight as we can. Bringing it back and going to twist it a couple times so that it'll stay. And trim it off. Now, if you go to a Chinese restaurant, get as many of the chopsticks as you can get so that you can make your own. And if this is going to be the long one at the bottom, you're going to have to take this one and trim it off to go where it can. And you can use the same wire cutters to trim it off as you do with the wire. Now, okay. I'm a very impatient person, so my glue is not all the way dry, so I might end up with some ripped paper. When they say patience is a virtue, they certainly mean that. Now there it is. Um, and we have to find the center where the bottom one, the one that goes this way and the one that goes this way come together, and we have to tie it together and then tie your string onto it. It's a little bit gooey, but it wouldn't be fun if it wasn't gooey. I think I got that a little too short. There's your kite, just like this. And you can take your long string, however long that you want this to go up in the sky. And you can have fun playing with your kite, or you could just decorate it. If you got some silky material, you can make your kite out of a silky material. So that's it for today. I will talk to you later. Goodbye.